And the boys are back. It's playoff week. With the regular season is finished. For all you fantasy players out there who have been following us throughout the year, the Punt playoffs selections are pretty much locked and loaded, ready to go. So we're going to cover all of last week's and cover the playoffs going forward. But after that, lads, Tag, how are you? How's your week been?
It's good. It's good. All things quiet on the NFL front. Obviously, nowhere near the playoffs on the Punt after the final last year. It's time for me to sit down and watch the big dogs battle. I've let myself down, and I'm going to be trying to come back with a bang next year. Staying well clear of CMC, that is for sure. Even if he drops to round 6, he's not getting picked. And obviously not very good on the bets either. So it's been a bit of a down, quiet week. Hopefully the playoffs in the fantasy and going into week 16, I think it is, gives us all a bit of a bounce.
I'd say you've been a bit tough on yourself there. I think out of your 3 bets there, two come off. I think the
one in the end.
Was it? Which one didn't? I thought
Barkley finished on 124.
Oh, it's because I had him and it didn't have the 20. I did 120, so I
yeah.
That bit.
Well, yeah. Imagine if, to be fair, I'm glad the Titans didn't come in because I would have lost that treble by 1 yard. That would have been a tough one. That
it would have been. Vish, how are you? How was your weekend?
It was good. A bit tired. You know, my emotions were all over the place. The Rams versus the Bills, I think, best game of the season. Unbelievable. Great win for the Rams. And that Josh Allen probably had a career day there, as I think locked me up as the number 1 seed in fantasy. I think Bailey Lou will beat Isaac based on Josh Allen scoring 50+ points, and I think that takes me top of the league. So bye week next week, and watch you and the others fight it out, Joe.
Oh, I like it. Well, yeah, I think because Laney's losing, I think that puts me possibly in 3rd position. I don't know. How's our thing? Is it done on deciders or is it done on
points for?
Points for. So Laney will keep his.
I think Laney's got you covered, mate. When I looked,
he's
he
just
does,
a little bit behind me.
So I'm 4th. Yeah, but we'll get into that near the end. But first off, it is it's the one we've been doing all year. It's the new one. It's Overreaction Monday. I'm going to go first, lads, because I'm going to steal Bish's one here. He knows what I'm going to say. It's a positive one. I'm going the LA Rams can make the Super Bowl. I think they've just beat the Bills. They're getting healthy at the right time. They've got all their offense is now firing. You've got Puka Nacua just absolutely destroying any NFL defense and cornerbacks he's gone against all year. He's absolutely flying. You've got Cup ready. You've got Higbee back. It's all in now, and I think things go right. I think they can make a good run here and actually shockingly make the Super Bowl.
Over to you, Tag. Yeah, I'm a bit biased.
Yeah, not for me, lads. You've seen the defense. You saw it last night, and no matter how good they go, I just can't see them outscoring the Lions. If that's the NFC Championship game or when they play each other, that Lions offense will they'll score a touchdown every possession against the Rams as they start tightening up that secondary. That's my only concern with the Rams is the defense. I know they went toe to toe with the Bills last night. The Bills defense, yeah, all right, but I just think if they play really, really good defense, or for me, the Lions are leading the way, best team by a mile. For me, the second best team in the NFC are the Green Bay Packers, and obviously the Lions just come over the top of them. If I'd take either of them 2 over the Rams at the minute, so sorry lads, but I'm out.
Yeah, I think for me, the most complete team in the NFC is the Eagles, I think, for me. I think coming up against the Lions, I'd actually fancy our chances. And I think the biggest thing the Rams did last night was take the lead. You know, it was you score, we score, but it was 1 turnover, block punt that they scored for a field goal, put them 10 points up. And it just meant Buffalo had to keep chasing. And I say it every week in plenty of group chats, but Matthew Stafford, he's unreal. He's just so good, so good. So I can't even say he's underrated now. I think people are starting to see how good he is. But he's so tough. He makes the throws. And like you said, Puka and everyone else is getting it done. Kyron Williams as well. So it's going to be interesting. 3 divisional games to play. Have the tiebreaker over the Seahawks and the 49ers at the minute. So it's definitely in their hands. I do like the Packers as well, as you said. But, I think there's plenty of teams to be shot at. I don't think Tampa, that NFC South, anyone from there will go very far. So it's the North, isn't it, really? It's the Vikings. All of a sudden, Sam Darnold's looking good as well. So, but yeah, I think on the day, they're more than capable of beating anyone. The only one that scares me is the Eagles, because I just think they overpower teams. The Rams just can't live with that physicality. But anyone else, I think on the day, it's game on.
Okay, who's next, lads?
I can go if you want, and I don't think it's a really an overreaction. I was pretty struggling to think of a solid one today, so I'm just going to say the voting's done. Josh Allen has won MVP. It's done. That game last night is signed, sealed, delivered. People shouting about Saquon. I get it, but they just don't vote for the running backs. We saw it with CMC last year. We saw it a couple of years ago with Derrick Henry. For me, I'm pretty sure that game last night has sealed Josh Allen as MVP this year, especially what he's done this year after losing Stephon Diggs and some of the injuries they've had. He's done what I didn't think he could do. He's proved me seriously wrong. At the start of the year, I doubted him. You get some right, you get some wrong. I seriously got him wrong. Didn't think he'd be able to carry this team on his back all year, and he has done. So hopefully I hold my hands up and say, well done, MVP, Mr. Allen.
I guess the only one, obviously, if you're people who might have not watched it as closely, free throwing touchdowns, free running touchdowns for Josh Allen, 6 total. Absolutely unbelievable game. If you had him in fantasy, obviously, as being a fantasy show, how many points did he get again, lads? I'll quickly.
51.9 in the punt, I think.
Yeah, I actually looked because I've got him as my star player. 51.88.
I think we all have.
Yeah, we'll just skip that intro. Just give it Josh Allen. We move on.
Yeah, unbelievable. I guess the only one I think that competes with him is maybe Lamar. His stats are actually a lot better than last year, but he's like you said, because Allen's doing so well, because Saquon's doing so well. I think Lamar's been a bit underrated on that MVP voting. I think obviously winning back to back, probably a bit of voter fatigue, but I think he deserves to be there just as much as anyone.
Oh, he does. He does, but he's got a lot more around him, in my opinion, with the defense, and they had Derrick Henry this year as well. But yeah, definitely Lamar second for me. Definitely second for me. Saquon third.
I think with Lamar, for me, what rules him out is they've lost 5 games already, and they've still got some divisional games to play. So, they started like an house on fire. They're actually, I dare say it, they might not make the playoffs. If they don't pick up another couple of wins. But just touching on Josh Allen there, I think next week's a massive one as well. They play the Lions, so everyone thinks the Lions are the best team. One of the best teams going. So, like Tag says there, a lot already have him as the MVP. But if he turns over the Lions, I think that's definitely signed, sealed, delivered, that one. So it's been good to watch him.
Like it, Bish, last one.
And me, I like to whinge. I like to have a rant. So we'll finish on a negative, shall we? So for me, it's the standard of coaching and GMs in the NFL is so poor. And this is a 2-pronged one. I'm looking at rookie quarterbacks just become broken by bad organizations, bad scheme fits, and bad O-lines. Look at this year. Watching little highlights last night. Caleb Williams, he's been sacked 50 plus times this year. That's the most this season. They fired all their offensive coaching. I just think when they draft these quarterbacks, how good are they at actually scouting and watching? Because I think they just go for what what the general public think. You know, you see these quarterbacks drafted into teams and they just don't fit the scheme that the team plays. You know, the offensive coordinator gets sacked, and then you're trying to fumble around, and the next thing you know, this young quarterback's gone through 2-3 changes. We've seen it with Trevor Lawrence. We've seen it with Bryce Young. Yeah, they get benched. And for me, it's maybe they start too soon all of a sudden. I'm not sure. Maybe the Patrick Mahomes way of having a year on the sidelines, just purely on the sidelines, learning and then coming in. But he is a special talent, so maybe that's just a one-off. But for me, I just think that's it really. Just such poor management of these young quarterbacks who are thrusted in far too early to try and save the day in awful teams. So yeah, that's my rant.
I like it. No, I think the thing that frustrates me, Bish, on that is I think I've coined this myself. I'll big myself up. It's a league and a design of a system that should be predicated on patience, and none of them have patience. It's like it's so counterproductive. It's a whole system where it's built in the draft. You sign these free agents, all about young players, all about which young players are the best, and building to where you can be one of the top 3 teams to compete. And then they expect victory straight away. Like it's you mentioned Bryce Young. How good is he playing now when he's had a bit of patience? He's had a year and a half. It's not just Mahomes. There's Jordan Love. There's obviously Aaron Rodgers, famously behind Brett Favre. There's multiple Kirk Cousins behind Robert Griffin. There's been loads that have had the time for Geno Smith for about 10 years, and then finally, I think the more time and patience you give players in the NFL, the naturally better they become. And it's a strange one, isn't it? Because, like you said, if on one bad year with a rookie QB, all these coordinators, these systems get fired, and then before you know it, there's a new coach, a new GM looking to draft their own quarterback to build, and the outstanding lack of patience by about, like you said, 65% of the leagues is scary. It's like you said, it's scarily how dumb it all seems, really.
Stating the obvious for a lot of people, obviously, who listen and watch. The worst teams pick first in the draft. The worst teams for a reason. Normally, they don't have very good offensive lines, and these rookie quarterbacks who are getting drafted are getting sent to the Lions Den, and it's very, very rare to see someone starting ready. I do think the patient approach should be work. I think you should go behind someone, but these teams who are the worst teams in the NFL don't have a good quarterback, so the starters day one, normally behind a bad offensive line, and normally don't have many weapons because they're rubbish, the team they're going to. Even if you look at Bo Nix, potentially best quarterback rookie this year, very lucky to have a top coach, which is rare, and someone who knows QBs, and he's obviously come into a team what has a very, very, very good defense, which obviously helps. But even you saw how bad he was the first 5, 6, 7 games. He took time. It's tough. It's really tough for these rookie QBs, but the better ones have been picked a little bit later and have sat behind the starters, like you said. As you see it now, I think the biggest one in the NFL I see right now is Jordan Love, who sat a year or 2 behind A-Rod. A-Rod got the boot. Everyone questioned why, and then Love comes in and he's looking unbelievable. And that's what Rodgers did behind Favre, as you said. So maybe that's the way we all have to go down, lads.
I think the biggest thing, just touching on that, is the 2 from this year that stand out for me is scheme fit wise. Jaden Daniels that's a perfect fit, but I think that's a bit of a college offense anyway. But you touched on Bo Nix there, but we know sort of Sean Payton's mold of quarterback. We've seen the Drew Brees, and for me, that's a perfect system fit. So that's, he might have wanted someone earlier on, but in the end, Bo Nix fell to him. But that's a perfect fit for me. The Caleb Williams to the Bears, the Bryce Young to Panthers last year, they just don't fit the schemes that they're going into. And if I was a GM, the first thing I'd be building is an O-line. We've seen it with Joe Burrow. His knee, he blows his knee out because he's got an awful O-line. He's having to get rid of the ball. And dare I say it, Daniel Jones, New York Giants, whoever that quarterback is, you've got no hope in hell at all. Whether you're Patrick Mahomes or not, you're not doing anything there. So, yeah.
I I think the one who's been unlucky as well, who's been the biggest name to come out of college recently, is Trevor Lawrence. Obviously injured again now. He's someone I think is still potentially the real deal. He just needs the right scheme, like you said, and it just hasn't worked for him. I mean, when he first got the gig at Jags, it was Thingy was the coach, wasn't he? Tim Tebow's old coach at Florida Gators. I always forget his name.
Yeah, I can picture him, and I can't remember his name. Urban
Basically,
Meyer.
What? Urban Myers, yeah. And
Urban Meyer.
that was obviously the worst possible coach ever for the highest rated college quarterback ever coming out of college. And I've still got a lot of hopes on T-Law. I do really think he can bounce back and still be the guy.
I'm with you. Next one, lads, on more positivity. Injury report. Is there any injuries to cover from this week that fantasy relevant?
Probably a couple I've got. I'm looking at the playoffs now. So, teams in the playoffs and playoff runs. And a big one that stands out for me is the 49ers. Isaac Guerrero was probably, people spent a lot of fab on him last week to get him, after CMC and forgotten what the second, Jordan Mason went on IR. And he's picked up a foot injury. And with a short turnaround this week, they play Thursday night against the Rams. It's looking like at the minute he's not going to be likely to play. So I think that's a massive one for the playoffs. That backfield sort of becomes open again. So get on the lookout for that one. And another one, similar running back wise, is Breece Hall. The Jets have it's a pretty good fantasy football, playoff run the next 3 games. He did sit out with a knee injury. Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis split the carries. So that's a big backfield to have a look at. See how Breece Hall is going. But if you're in them semi-finals, if you've got space on your bench, I'd definitely get both those Jets backups streamed on your bench, ready to go, just in case Breece Hall don't play.
Like, I've got 2 more running backs as well. One more long-term, I guess, if you're playing Dynasty. Jonathan Brooks done his ACL. For the second, obviously, come into the season with an ACL, look like he's redone it. Sadly, might be the end. So Dynasty owners probably a bit heartbroken with all his potential and all hype. 2 ACLs in a year. Really, really bad luck there. And then the other one was Bucky Irving, a man close to my heart in my other league that's scraped me into some wins, and obviously in the betting show as well, has been unbelievable. Only managed 3 yards, got taken back. His back's been injured, and he's been managing it for a couple of weeks anyway. And it said it tightened up within the first few plays. So imagine they might rest him now. So it's Rashad White you're looking at there. Obviously, he won't be on waivers, so I guess more Rashad White owners, don't worry about playing him. He'll be locked and loaded as he was in the game against the Raiders on last night. He scored a lot. I think he got 2 touchdowns and a decent 83 yards. So I think he'll carry on that success going into the playoffs there. So Rashad White owners, if you made the playoffs, you're absolutely flying.
That's a sore subject for Bish because we're in a dynasty league, me and Bish, and I think if Bucky Irving didn't get injured, Bish wins the playoff match. He's lost the game by about 10, 15 points, have you, Bish? And with Bucky lost the game by 9 points. Bucky Irving scoring 1 point. The Ricard White goes on to score 17 points today. Was it more?
And I subbed him in for James Conner. James Conner scored 17 points as well.
Yeah, so you would have won it.
It's an extra pain because it's a league that starts playoffs during bye weeks, which is absolute kills me. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Well, I was flying coming into them playoffs from our team, and looks like I'm getting beat as well. So, hey,
honestly.
And I think only other one was Aidan O'Connell as well. He's, but I don't think that has.
We'll skip the Raiders. No one cares about that.
Yeah, although to be fair, the Raiders do have a good run in as well. But yeah, it looks like he's done as well. Derek Carr fractured his hand as well, out for the season. If anyone has any Saints offensive players.
Yeah, so tough one. I guess we'll Tag, you've coined this one, so I'll let you start. But we've got a new one that's based off what we did at the Panic Station. We've got the Panic Playoff Selections. Go ahead, pal.
Well, I come up with this before Josh Allen's big game last night, so we'll just have to do in hindsight for Mr. Top of the table, Ben Jones Bishop first. I was looking at both your teams, looking at the playoffs this week, and for me, I picked a spot each for you. And with Bish, looking at his team, I think there was only one toss of the coin position potentially for this week. Bish will probably prove me wrong. If I am wrong, Bish, then just go with it, mate. Act like I'm right. But I think it'd be a flip between Terry McLaurin and Devontae Adams, who would start in the wide receiver spot. We've got Scary Terry going up against the Saints, like you said, with no Derek Carr. But you got Devontae Adams off the 17-point game going against the Jags, one of the worst secondaries in the league. So if you was going into this playoff tie and Josh Allen didn't pull you out the big one last night, Bish, just thoughts for anybody who's in a similar position. Would you have gone with Scary Terry or Devontae and back to A-Rod one last time?
That is a big one. What I saw from the Jets last night, I was very impressed. It looks like Rodgers is having a dig. Both the Devontae and Wilson had some joy. And just looking at that matchup, I've had a nightmare betting against the Jags wide receivers lately. So Devontae, I'm hoping he breaks that jinx. But in this selection, it's a tough one. I think I've got to go with Terry McLaurin based on the home run ability and what he's delivered coming off a bye. But what I would have actually done this week if I was playing, still might be, to be honest. You never know what happens. Jamar Chase is still to play for Grimesy. But I'd actually... So my three wide receivers, for those who can't see this, obviously Tag's touched two there, Devontae Adams and Terry McLaurin. But I'm starting DK Metcalf. I'd actually drop DK Metcalf.
Oh.
So I'd start with Devontae Adams and Terry McLaurin as my two wide receivers. And we touched on him last on the betting show for those that follow that. DK Metcalf at the minute is being used as a bit of a decoy. It's Jackson Smith and Jigba who's getting all of it, and Metcalf running on a lot of the deep routes, a lot of the go balls, just to attract attention. So I'm just looking at him now.
Just because of it. Sorry, go on.
The last 3 weeks, he's scored below 10 points. Coming up against a Green Bay defense, that's pretty good secondary. So, yeah, for me, I'd be starting Devontae Adams and McLaurin.
Yeah, in my thought process for that, if it was my team, I'd be starting DK. The only reason why is a must-win game for Seattle, and must-win games DK normally steps up. I feel like it's a type of game where he'll just have a big game. Could be wrong. I think there'll be more eyes on Jackson Smith and Jigba. So, yeah. Who would you be going, Joe, out of them two if you had Scary Terry or Devontae?
Like you said, Scary Terry, I'm going with Bish's one. I think, like you said, you just can't risk DK right now. It's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable who he's got, how well he's going to play. Like I said, they look like they're moving towards Jackson Smith and Jigba as the wide receiver one, as I thought they would early on in the year. Tyler Lockett's still got the one or two catches in it. It's a case where there's a lot of mouths to feed there. And I think unless something changes or there's an injury, a bit of a system change going into the last couple of weeks, I think you've got to go McLaurin and Devontae. And with Bish, I think he's made the right call. But Bish, I'm just looking at your team here, and I think you've got one other bogey position where I don't think you've got an answer for. And it's the one which may be the most important in the playoffs because it gives you that bottom line, and it's QB.
I think I was just about to bring that up there. I am looking at this, and not so much. If I had to play this week, I think I'd be fine.
Herbert's got a nice matchup this week.
He's got Tampa Bay, but it is the semi-final that I'm worried. Week 16, Justin Herbert has got Denver Broncos. Earlier on in the season, at Denver, he got 13 points, so not ideal. And then my loose cannon, my wild card, Will Levis, is at home to Indianapolis Colts. He's away.
He'll throw some bombs in that game, Bish.
He will, but week 6 he only had 8 points against them, so So yeah, that is a worry. Since Dak Prescott went down, that's been a pretty weak position for me. So it might be a case of this week I copy Grimesy and pick up all the quarterbacks and take a pick next week.
I was going to say, who have Saints got that week? Are you going to have a little go on there? Spent the rattle cage?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I'm just having a look now. Let's have a look. Week 15.
Saints.
Oh, I know exactly who I might go with. My guy, famous Jameis.
Yeah, I'm going to say he's still sat there, isn't he?
And maybe one last hurrah. Aaron Rodgers has got the Jags week 16.
Oof.
Just
Devontae Rodgers.
Gone, Jameis Winston gone to your waiver wire, so I'm gonna give it my best shot.
You need to get him, Joe. You've got Drew Lock there as your backup. Terrible.
Drew Lock, but I'm going with your man tag. I've got Bo Nix. Go on, what have you got for me?
Right, well, Bishop, Joe, I looked at your team. Shocked it's made the playoffs, but fair play, I'll give you it. Well done, mate. At the minute, you're going with the 3 running backs. I think you'll probably go with the 3 running backs again in the playoffs. It seems to be working well for you. But you've got Ramondre Stevenson coming off the bye, I believe.
Yeah.
So let's go with the fact of obviously injury report. We didn't mention, but Kenneth Walker was a game day no-go. If he's still in playing, for me, you're probably going Charbonnet against Green Bay still just because of the workload he gets. You aren't dropping Josh Jacobs. I think it's a flip of the coin in your flex between Gus Edwards and Ramondre Stevenson. You've bigged at Ramondre all year. Gus Edwards a bit.
Big trade. You paid a lot for him as well.
Yeah. And big Gussie Edwards, he's not doing it, has he, since he's got that starting role. It's a big call. You got Gus Edwards going against Tampa Bay, whose run defense is a lot better than their secondary, and the Cardinals are a bit leaky at the minute. So, what you're thinking there? Is it going to be Gus Edwards or Ramondre Stevenson?
Well, at the moment, I actually got bored last night and went over my team last night, coincidentally. And at the moment, I've not gone for any running back. I've outdone you, and I'm actually going with Devonta Smith after a big week. He's hitting a bit of form. He's coming off 11.7 points, not too much form, but he's got that steady production.
You can't go with Devonta. You can't. He's got 1 touchdown and he got 11.
And then I've got D-Hop. So at the moment, I've gone to CD. I've gone the 3 wide receivers. D-Hop and the Chiefs are against Cleveland. I think I'm all over that. CD's got Carolina. I'm not worried about that one. I think there's a baseline there, like you said. And then with that flex position / wide receiver role. And I think at the moment I'm going Devonta Smith because Gus Edwards, like you said, look to a shadow of J.K. Dobbins, not look that good. They've split the backfield a little as well. And then obviously, like you said, the other option is Zach Charbonnet. I fully expect Kenneth Walker to be back, so that kind of rules Charbonnet out. I'm just going to keep him in there. I don't think I've got any other option than
if Kenneth Walker's still out though, Charbonnet is there. You're going to go Devontae over a running back in your fence because I think going to playoffs you need to have that high floor. I think you're rolling the dice with Devontae then. Obviously, it depends who you're playing against, but obviously that's where we differ. I'd be starting Ramondre Stevenson against the Cardinals, mate.
Yeah, no, just so I've got Josh Jacobs, Ramondre, CD Lamb, Devonta Smith, DeAndre Hopkins.
But if Charbonnet's
Devonta Smith out, Hopkins in the wide receiver 2 role, and Charbonnet in that flex role. No blinks given. I think it's an easy pick for me. I think without if Kenneth Walker's in, then like I said, I think I have to roll the dice and hope Devonta catches a touchdown against Pittsburgh and just roll it, because otherwise, like I said, I'm definitely nervous. Happy Ramondre, like I said, against Arizona, brilliant matchup at the moment. Josh Jacobs against Seattle, good matchup, and Josh Jacobs is going to give me 12 to 15 guaranteed. CD Lamb against Carolina, yeah. So it's D Hop's got a brilliant one. So yeah, I think Devonta Smith has to go in. Gus Edwards, he's not Mr. Reliable, and I think that's the way it's going to have to go for me.
It's all on Kenneth Walker.
Frey on Kenneth Walker just needs another week of rest before Seattle maybe makes the playoffs. That's I need them to get confidence in Charbonnet and not give Walker another week's rest, and then I think I'll be facing Bish soon and be pretty confident about my outlook.
What are you doing, Bish, if Kenneth Walker's out still?
Out of I'm going with the running back options. So out of your first one, I'd go Stevenson over Gus Edwards just for pure volume. You know, Stevenson's got the volume. If Kenneth Walker's still out, I'm more than likely playing Chardonnay. They've not been a great running team, if I'm honest, Seattle, but it seems like, he got 22 carries, so coming up against Green Bay. The only thing that I wouldn't be playing in week 16. He's got Minnesota, so I think Walker would be back by then in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, he's probably not an option for the semi-final. But yeah, I'm leaning out of those options. I'm leaning Stevenson just for volume. I'd be staying away from Devonta Smith. I won't be playing him. The Eagles don't pass the ball, and if they do, it's going to AJ Brown.
Saquon's breaking that record, baby.
Yeah, and they've got a tough match. Yeah, it's definitely something I need to figure out. I need a bit of luck, to be honest. I think I need Gus Edwards. I'm pretty confident next week because I think I'm against a few of the weaker teams. But I need Gus Edwards to either take that step up and take over the role fully, or Kenneth Walker to.
That's why this segment's good, because you said you had it sorted in your look last night, and we've just put panic into you. I love it.
Yeah, it's worked very quickly.
It's worked. You're asking for luck now.
On the positive note, lads, I'll quickly move on there, and we'll go Bish's breakouts, top player of the week. Obviously, we've covered Josh Allen, so I'm gonna exclude him from this one because I think he'll be on every podcast and every show and every TV comment. So I'm going to challenge you to find others. Bish, you go first.
I'm going to do two, so I hope I don't nick one of yours, boys. But from that game, I'm going to go Puka. You know, obviously, he's just broke another record for nightmare. I've just forgotten it. 25 games played. The most yardage is just below Odell Beckham Jr. I think 2,100 and something receptions. But 35.8 points, 162 receptions on 12 catches and a touchdown. And probably the biggest catch was, I don't know if you've seen it, a sideline catch that he did. Unbelievable catch, kept his feet down. Just so good. So good. He's sort of swept. He's turned into the new Cooper Kupp. You know, Cooper Kupp used to be the action man here, there, everywhere. Now that's what you're seeing Puka do here, there, everywhere. He's even rushing the ball, you know, catching little screens, beating defenders. So he is the Rams for me. You know, him and Stafford are the Rams. And my other honourable mention is Sam Darnold, 34 points. He threw for 5 touchdowns at home, defending against Kirk Cousins' sort of return game, and he outshone him, totally outplayed him, and he's looking good.
Like it, I'll go next, and I'll just say the player who's obviously pretty much won me the week, and I'll go 2 running backs. Both of mine is Zach Charbonnet, 34.8 fantasy points. Like I said, coming off Kenneth Walker being injured, I was a bit nervous about playing him. Like I said, he's early on in the season. He's been a good pass catcher all year, not been brilliant with the run. Instead, he was slow and eradicated all that. 22 carries, 134 yards. 7 out of 7 receptions to go on with his, how good he is at receptions, I meant to say. But go 59 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. It was just a fantastic day, rooting the Arizona Cardinals nearly single-handedly. They've got a terrifying. I wish everyone had a Dan Campbell or what's the offensive coordinator called at the Detroit Lions again?
Ben Reynolds, is it?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, yeah, that's it. Yeah. I wish most teams had a Ben Johnson because these two are are a similar Jameer Gibbs, David Montgomery type. Charbonnet is brilliant, unbelievable running back. So is obviously Kenneth Walker. I'd love to see, as they go into these tougher games, they want to make the playoffs. They've got a chance to now. I'd love to see them implement them both more and really get that offense built around these two running backs having different roles in the game and really taking over that side, because they've not got it right this year. They just keep giving it Kenneth Walker. He's been brilliant, but I think to get the most out of both of them, it's going to be one of them where I think they should split the backfield and let both of them shine, because every chance one of them gets to dominate the ball, they both look amazing. And then my other one, sorry, I'm too busy talking good about Charbonnet, is Josh Jacobs again. My man, 18 carries, 66 yards, another 3 touchdowns. I won my bet this week on his 10 touchdowns for the season, 10 rushing touchdowns on the season. He's scored quite a few receptions, and he's just took it to another level since the bye week. He needed that rest. I think whatever they've figured out, they've got him more open. They've got that offensive line going, and they've just really backed the run. And he's looking better and better each week. So Josh Jacobs, Charbonnet, 2 running backs, 2 awesome weeks.
Yeah, I was all in on Josh Allen. The only one I had a bit of a note of, because I got him out of the cares, was Justin Jefferson. Someone who we spoke about panicking about potentially a few weeks ago, well over 20 points, 2 touchdowns. Hitting form, if you took him in the first round, you go into the playoffs, and very happy you've took him, because he looked back to his normal self yesterday, and he's got a real dual threat with Addison, who's going to take a bit of heat off him. So if you got Jefferson, you've had a good week, and if you go into the playoffs with him, I'd be very happy.
That's when I got. Sorry, Joe. That's when I got wrong massively. I think a couple of weeks ago, Joe, you asked me, would I take AJ Brown over Jefferson? And I panicked. I panicked massively, and I took AJ Brown. Well, that was the wrong decision, 100%. JJ's back, definitely.
And another one is, I think JJ probably. I'd be surprised if a Justin Jefferson owner hasn't made the playoffs comfortably, because them first 2 rounds, looking back, there's not many that have actually flied through the league. I might be wrong here. Bish is laughing at my comments.
I'm just laughing because Bailey Lou, he's actually got Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson, and he's sat 10th, 11th in our league.
Well, we eradicate our league. I think in the first round or 2, haven't they? There's been so many. There were so many picks. I did it a couple of weeks ago where there were so many picks who haven't succeeded. Not many of them have done well, and a lot of the greater finds have been later in that thing. So having Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver, 1 really in that second round, late first round, unbelievable. And I think Bailey Lou gave up for a couple of weeks, so I think I'll forgive him for not making the playoffs, because he disappeared for a couple of weeks, and then he's had a resurgence later, and I think Bish might have put a bit of pressure on him to keep going. And ever since he's been back. But other than Bailey Lou, I think most Justin Jefferson owners, I would be surprised if they're not steaming into the playoffs. And then finally, lads. The most important one maybe now it's playoff time for them ones who are on the periphery going into their bye week, struggling, maybe a couple of injuries in the lineup this week. It's the waiver wires. What have you got? Tag, take us away.
I've got no one. I'm sat here sulking, mate. I ain't bothered about the waivers. But I think the only one, which is someone I released from our team, is Famous Jameis. If you need a QB, I'm looking at you 2 above me. Get him, because if worst case scenario, we've spoke about 1,000,000 times, Jay's going to throw some interceptions. You don't get hurt for him. I could be wrong. He's guaranteeing you 15 points minimum, because he just throws the ball about, he sprays it, and it could be a massive matchup winner. He could throw a big one out there for you. And the Browns have got some alright ties, I believe. So yeah, he'd be the only main one for me if you need a QB, and Famous James is there like he is on our league. I'd get him.
I'll chuck a question out to you, lads. With Breece Hall maybe being injured for another week or so, you've got Isaiah Davis sat there. Obviously, everyone thought Braylon Allen would have completely dominated the backfield, what we saw very early on this season. Davis has come out with a rushing touchdown, 40 rush yards, 27 yards in receptions, and got 14 0.2 fantasy points with Jacksonville and the Rams, both not great running defenses coming up. Would he be worth a
Yeah, well, for me, I think they don't rush Brees orderly. What they rushed him for? I mean, he hadn't lived up to what I thought. I got Josh Allen very wrong. I got Brees Hall very right, in my opinion. I think if you took him in the top 5, like some people did in round 1, you've made a bad choice. I think what you're rushing him back for, you may as well get him 100% right, or get him ready for next year, because he's still under his rookie contract. So I 100% go and get him, Joe. If I need a running back or question mark on the flex, Bishop spoke what the Jets running, I 100% go and get him, because he's still going to get some workload from what he's shown anyway last night.
Yeah, in a perfect world, Brees don't play. The last message before we went on live here is they're not shutting him down for the season. But like you said, with that running those 3 games, you definitely pick up Raylan Allen and Isaiah Davis if you can. And then two I had one running back at the Raiders, Sincere McCormack, simply again through pure volume, 15 carries, 78 yards at the weekend. Again, he's got another nice run in. He's got the Falcons, the Jags, and the Saints. So although they've just lost the quarterback, it might add more carries to him. So that's a pure volume play. And then if you need a wide receiver this week, if you need you're in those matchups, your first qualifying round, for me, the wide receiver to go get this week is Quinton Johnson for the Chargers. You know, he's had some ups and downs. He dropped a sitter a couple of weeks ago, but he scored last night, and they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who we know are very susceptible to wide receiver touchdowns. So yeah, that's one I'd go get.
I like it. And then I guess I'll ask you a question on the quarterbacks. In our league, we've got some big names actually sat there. We've got Aaron Rodgers after his week. We've got CJ Stroud. We've got Geno Smith, who's obviously dependent on his amount of touchdowns he throws. He's there. You've got famous Jameis. You've got potentials in Cooper Rush with a pretty all right matchup going into the final. Cincinnati, Carolina, Tampa Bay. If you really want to take a punt, you've got Bryce Young there. I feel sick saying that, but you've got Bryce Young saying there, who's been playing well. Well, what are the names there of them streamable QBs? You're in Bishop's position, you're in my position, where you're a bit worried. If something happens to Bo Nix, I'm in trouble. What are the 2-3 names I've mentioned that you'll be picking up?
I think it's got to be Jameis. We spoke about it. I just think it guarantees you that 15 points. He's gonna throw the ball no matter what. He's gonna give you a chance. Whereas a couple of the other names you mentioned there, like CJ Stroud, Joe Mixon's taking over games massively at times. A-Rod's have been a bit up and down. I know he's got a good run in. Bryce Young, can you trust him yet? And Chilbrougher's still very good run game. So I'd be leaning towards CJ Stroud, probably because you're getting a bit of consistency. But I'd be all in on famous Jameis if I need a QB right now. I really would.
My wild card to get you to the final is Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've started Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush in one of my leagues this week.
Yeah, he's got the Bengals tonight, which is potentially could be a nice confidence boost for him. Week 15, he's got Carolina. Week 16, he's got Tampa Bay. 2 teams, poor teams. So week 17, if you make the final, he's got Philadelphia, so I definitely wouldn't play him there, but I think he's got a good path there to get you to the final. Whether you take the risk is up to you. But again, I'd lean Jameis, but if I want Jameis, it'd be Cooper Rush.
And finish off, lads. Any fun stories? Best kickers of the week? Any stories you want to mention?
I've got a kicker. The fish got a kicker.
I've got a kicker. You know me, my boys, but you lead the way, Tag.
I've got a kicker. Oh, sorry, I've dropped my pen. And I've got to go with Wright at the Chiefs. Got to give him it. He's my kicker of the week. He's winning the division. A lot of pressure. Replacing Harrison Buckner, who will be back soon. He's coming to replace him. He kicked a long one earlier in the game. which ended up being massive for him. And then he wins that last kick to win him it off the post wins in the division. So I'm giving him a shout out. He deserves it.
The Chiefs just keep somehow finding wins, don't they? They keep dragging it out. My kicker would be Jason Sanders for the Dolphins. He kicked a 57-yarder on halftime, and then he kicked a 52-yarder to take it to overtime as well. So, yeah, a lot of kickers missing these days, but yeah, he certainly delivered when it mattered.
I like it, lads. Bish, give us your final thoughts. Good show, a lot of information there for everyone watching. So, finish us off, pal.
Good luck to those who need a win tonight to get in your playoffs, and then all the best next week for those who are starting the playoffs, the business end of the year. Any questions, any decisions that you've got, any flex options that you need, waivers, get them in the comments. Let's see if we can help you out over the next couple of days. But yeah, please, do the usual: follow, like, subscribe, and pass it on.
Have a good one, lads.